Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Talkin' Tunes. I am your host, Frank Walsh. Thanks for tuning in today. Ladies and gentlemen, in keeping with bringing you some of the best music around, I have a surprise for you today because this gentleman on my right is not only one of the coolest guys that I know on the scene, he has the kind of a smile that would light up the stage when you ever get to see him perform, and I think you'll see that smile once or twice today. He is a local legend on the music scene, lives a little bit down on the South Coast, down around Rhode Island in the Bristol area, and he has played everywhere and with many, many formidable artists. Originally from Chicago, now making his home up this way, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you my friend, Mr. Riverside Vinny Goulart. Vinny, how are you, my friend?
Very good, Frank. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. I tell you, it's taken a while to get you on here. I mean, we were talking about it several months ago, and you're a busy boy.
I'm all over the place.
You are all over
Got my
the place.
hands in on everything.
You've got them on everything, and I think you're going to tell the folks some of those things that you have your hands in. But why don't you take a couple of minutes and, look into that little red light up there and tell the folks a little about Riverside Vinny.
Well, I grew up in Bristol, Rhode Island, when I was a kid. Mom and Dad were really poor, and we didn't have much back then, but we had music. And I remember as a little boy, my family playing music in the parlor, guitars, drums, accordion. My dad originally started off with accordion. He played accordion, violin, keyboards, guitar. And through my aunts and my uncles, I got a lot of influence from them. And later on in life, I started picking up guitar and basically self-taught.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's later on in life? 12, 13, 15? When did you start playing?
There was a little lag there between when I was a little boy until 16, maybe 18, when I really seriously started picking it up. There were a lot of bad influences in my life, a lot of partying, a lot of good times. I would never regret that. And we continued the good times with music. And music, this is my saying all the time, music is the best drug I have ever done straight. And there is nothing like playing music, playing to an audience and having the audience react to your playing and the fun and all the good times that go along with it.
Now, back then, who were some of your musical influences beyond your family? What were you starting to listen to, and did anything strike your fancy and say, boy, I want to sound like them, or I want to play like that? Was it, Beatles or rock and roll, or, what were those first influences that made you want to pick up the guitar and play?
It's funny. I don't know why, but blues always stuck to me.
Okay.
And some of my influences are like, Robert Johnson, of course.
Sure.
Muddy Waters was a great influence. And when I was listening to a lot of Muddy Waters albums, I got turned on to Johnny Winter. And Johnny Winter was, he was my blues god for a long time. And got to see Johnny Winter a few times, even got his autograph,
Yep.
And, but then it evolved into other influences. But some of my influences are, like Jimi Hendrix, Steve Ray Vaughan, even Randy Rhoads. I mean,
okay.
for Randy Rhoads at his young age, even Jimmy, these guys were phenomenal guitar players. Mm-hmm. And, I have local favorites like Neil Vitullo, like Mike Walsh, like, Tommy Ferraro. I mean, I got a lot of local guys I cherish and I love hanging out with them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, you put on your Facebook page and, you kind of give the impression that you have that Chicago background. Where does Chicago come into this?
I used to go to Chicago between music and business 5 times a year between the late 80s and early 90s. And I got to go to a lot of nice bars out there. And I remember going to Kingston Mines, and I was just hanging in the bars, just having a good time. And I walked across the street to Blue Chicago.
Okay.
It's a little tiny, beautiful, real old school Chicago blues bar. And the person that hit me hardest in my heart was Magic Slim and the Teardrops.
Okay.
He recently passed away about 3-4 years ago. Broke my heart like you can't believe. And I went there and I was watching him one night, and he had such a great groove, nice Chicago sound. And when he got off stage, he took the time to talk to me. Him and I would talk about guitars and amps and music. And, you know, I told him I was a blues guitar player back from Rhode Island. And he looked at me funny. He's like, "You're a blues guitar player, huh?" And he kept that in the back of his mind. And later on that night, when he got up on stage, he had me go up there with his Jaguar.
How cool is that?
And I got to play his guitar for about 3 or 4 songs.
How cool
with,
is
with
that?
Magic Slim and the Teardrop. And they're like real, true, old school blues players. It was a phenomenal thing. But it graduated from there because going to Chicago all the time, got to hang out with Buddy Guy at Buddy Guy's. Sat there at the bar eating gumbo, talking about you know, his life down in Louisiana. You know, he showed me the guitar that Steve Ray Vaughan gave him. You know, amps. We
Nice.
talk hours about amps. And just a true gentleman. You get him off stage, and he's just as human as the rest of us. Yeah.
So would you say that you are a Chicago's blues guy?
My heart is definitely into Chicago. Yep. I still have some friends there. Dan Ivankovich, he is also called Chicago Slim. Okay. And he plays out there, plays at Buddy Guy's still. But his day job, he's a surgeon. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
And he's a great person. He's one of my personal favorites. I still call up Dan every once in a while for his advice. And just perfect. Some of my other great clubs I like out there is Rose's Lounge.
Okay.
Tony, he owns it, and Amberly runs the whole place and books it. Yeah, it's Chicago's definitely a good place to be.
Now, you know, how have you seen the evolution of the blues, since that seems to be where your passion is? How have you seen the blues evolve from the time where you first started getting into it to where it is now? Because I've talked with several different people, and everyone has a different opinion on that. And where have you seen that evolution?
You know, music is definitely, I don't want to call it an opinion, but it's an evolution.
Okay.
Like even like band members, you're in, you're out, you're out, you're in. So you're always evolving with the different flavors of the industry. And, you know, there'll always be the traditional blues, like the acoustic blues. There'll always be the traditional electric blues out there, which a lot of our good friends up this way play still. And they're good influences, and I draw from that. But blues has gone from, you know, very traditional to electrified blues, to like that Jimi Hendrixy blues, the Stevie Ray kind of blues, and very high energy Texas style blues. Okay. So there is no right or wrong.
Right.
It's what do you want to hear, what makes your heart love, and what can get you to dance. You know, and myself personally, I like the high energy, the electrified blues, the influences of you know, the Stevie Rays, the Hendrixys, the Johnny Winters, kind of you know, powerful blues that way.
Now, you know, you are certainly a showman on stage. And, you know, in addition to, you know, playing and singing as you do, you know, you like to have fun. You like to engage the audience, etc. And, you know, I have heard from different people with whom I've talked about the differences from where the blues was to where it is now, is that along the way, a lot of that personal experience, the passion, the hurt, the pain, all that stuff that's associated with blues has somewhat diminished a little bit into more technique and style versus substance and feeling. What's your take on that?
You know, there are definitely technical players out there, and they know a lot of chords and a lot of notes, and that's kind of the direction they like to go. I like to keep it basic. I like to keep it what I call meat and potatoes blues. Okay. Electrified blues. I love to interact with the audience.
You do that.
You know, the audience, they want to hear good music. They want to see a little bit on stage. But you know me, Frank. I jump off them stage.
You do.
And I interact with the audience. And I have you know, a girl dancing. I put the guitar over her and we play. You know, she loves it. The rest of the people come up on stage and have some fun. I'm on my knees on the dance floor playing behind my head with my teeth. It's part of the show, and it's part of the high energy they like to see. Because when you are on stage, you are not only a musician, but you are a performer. And you need to give that audience back more than just your music.
How much of a difference, if any, is there between Vinny the performer versus Vinny the music lover and the music appreciator when you're not on stage? Do you look at music that you listen to, or when you go out and see different bands and players, is there a difference between Vinny the performer versus Vinny the music appreciator and the music lover?
It's kind of funny you said that because
I stayed up all night thinking of that question.
You were thinking of that one, weren't you?
All night, yeah.
Yeah, I went out last Friday night. I had a little bit of free time, and I went to go see one of my friend's bands, and I sat there and I had a beer, and I got to listen to some more traditional blues, a lot of harmonica player going on there. And, you know, I get to sit back and see somebody else perform. And, you know, they really appreciate that because they know where I've been. And they like to see me in the audience. Matter of fact, they even got me up and play a couple of tunes.
Gee, what a surprise.
It's, you know, I really like that. But you know what? It's their show. You know,
right,
and I would
exactly.
never ask them if I can get up and play.
Right.
And because it's their show, it's their promotion. And I really have an appreciation of what they do. You know, when I go out to see a band, which is kind of rare because right now I'm in the studio. You know, I'm working on some projects at home, hanging out with you, Frank. What better than hanging out with Frank?
I paid him to say that.
That's right, $5.
You know, there's that smile, folks. I told you, there's that smile. Now, you know, as far as you know, your band. When I first met you a while ago, you were playing with, you know, Riverside Vinny and the Revolution.
Yes.
And you know, since then you've kind of taken a little hiatus from that.
Yes, you
now,
have to once in a while.
Are you going out? You doing any session work with people? You going out and, you know, are you like the, you know, gun for hire? If someone needs a guitarist, can they call you up and say, hey, Vinny, we need a guitarist?
Yeah, no, not really, not
No?
yet. Right now, I'm taking a little break,
Yep.
and most of the break is in the studio.
Okay.
I need to come up with a different CD. Need to come up with some different music. And right now, the wintertime, I'm just taking off, and then in the summer, I'll kick it back up again.
How much of a writer are you as far as writing original material versus doing covers?
You know, personally, I like doing covers.
Okay.
Because covers, I get what I call the meat and potatoes of the song,
Yep.
and twist it my way, but yet still familiar to the audience. Originals are really good, but it's hard to get the audience to get on board with originals. So I'm doing covers, and the originals just hasn't hit me yet. Yeah, I like I said, I like doing the covers.
Interesting.
Yes.
I just had a thought that I want to go back to what you were saying before about getting the audience involved and you know, drawing from that, you know, passion of the audience, which certainly, you know, works both ways. They energize you, you energize
I
them.
feed off the audience all the
Exactly.
time. When they're out there having a good time, I'm having a good time.
And I think that, you know, you'll appreciate this. I was out with some friends the other night. You know Vinny Serino, you know
Yes,
Vinny, the
yeah.
great Vinny Serino. He's been on the show, and he's got a great band, Boston Baked Blues, and Greg Maroney, if you know Greg, the keyboardist.
Yeah.
We were talking, and I went to see one of their shows last week. And when they first came on, there weren't a lot of people there because it was early. And you know how it is sometimes at clubs. They'll come in 10, 11 o'clock. They
right.
might start at 8:30,
Yeah.
and it doesn't get crazy until 10.
That's right.
So we were kind of looking around, and I said, boy, I was talking to Greg, and I said, boy, you know, I know some more people are going to come. It's a good crowd. And he said something very simplistic, but it was also very profound to me. And he says, well, Frank, he said, we don't perform for the people. He goes, we perform for the people who are here, not the ones who are not here.
That's right.
And that kind of hit me,
Yeah.
you know, which kind of piggybacks on what you were saying,
Yeah.
is that, you know, you draw from that crowd. And if there are 2 people or 3 people there,
You still play a heart out for
you
them.
play as if they're for 1,000.
Absolutely.
And you draw from that energy. But I just thought that was really interesting in that other context where he said that, you know, we play for the people who are here, not the ones who are not.
Right.
You
You know, they come out, they go out of their way.
Yes.
They drive from their home, they go to this club, they want to see some entertainment, so hear some good music. And you know, well, if there's 5 people there or 5,000 people there, you still play your part.
Yeah.
You know, and it's part of the business part. I mean,
Yeah.
this is what the bar owner expects,
Yep.
or the club owner expects. You know, I mean, as much as we love music and we love to play out, it's still a business. And our job is to make the bar money.
Now, we could probably talk forever on this as we did before the show, but let's just kind of capsulize it a little bit for the sake of time as far as, how difficult it is, regardless of how good you are as a band, to go out and get a gig because of what you just said, that you have to recognize that business side of it. And how often, do you run into that, or are you in kind of a regular mode with places where you play where they say, okay, we got Riverside Vinny coming, we know what we're going to get, and we'll book them, versus other places where you almost have to fence and foil to get that gig because, you're looking at it from the enjoyment standpoint for the audience and having fun. They're looking at it from the dollars and cents and how many beers are they going to sell.
There you go.
How often do you run into that? Is that more prevalent now than it might have been back in the day, or what?
It's definitely a challenge to book a gig. Okay. And every bar I hit or club, it's always a challenge to get in. Because they need to make money. You need to make them money. That's our job. It's entertainment, it's fun, it's good music, but bottom line, it comes down to the dollar, okay? So what I try to do is, you still have all your promotional stuff. You can have a website, CDs, pictures, and all that stuff, and that's all well and good. But and this is good advice for every band out there, okay? When I walk into a bar or a club, it's a business partnership, okay? And I want them to know that I'm not just some kid having a couple of beers, drinking and having some fun, and who cares if I make money or not. My job is to make the bar money, okay? That's all our musician jobs that needs to do, okay? And what happened is that when I go in there, it's a business partnership, and I tell them that we need to be a partner, try me out for 3 or 4 gigs, okay? And then we can evaluate their profit margin, okay? And along with that, then, they have to, the bar owners and club owners have to promote. The band members, all of them have to promote, whether if it's Facebook, Twitter, whatever it may be, but you need to promote to get people there. And even like now Facebook, you have to do a Facebook band page, and you can actually pay for advertising within a geographical radius, which is pretty nice. So, it really comes down to a business partnership with the owner.
Cool.
And you have to work with them because if they don't hire you back, don't get mad. Hey, it didn't work out.
Exactly.
Okay, and you work on the next one.
Exactly.
But 99% of the time when they hire our band, they're always hiring us because we deliver. We try to deliver. We do our best.
I knew this was going to happen because you're such an interesting and fascinating guy. And I always tell people on the show that time somewhat is our enemy at times.
Ticking away.
But we need to get you up there and play a little bit. So what are you going to do for us? You're going to pick up that little axe and play a little bit. What are you going to play?
I'm not really sure yet. I'm thinking a little Voodoo Child right now. But the thing is that some of the things, Frank, as you know, part of my show, I play with my teeth, behind my head, behind my back. Sometimes I guitar surf. Remember that one?
I do.
So I like to show people how to do that because there's a lot of guitar players that are very timid that are afraid to do that. And you got to remember, when you're out there, I have 2 kinds of guitars. My tools that go out to a gig, and my custom ones and collectibles stay home. Okay?
And you have that flying V.
You like my V.
I like the flying V. I do.
Yes.
But so, ladies and gentlemen, rather than us sitting talking about his music, you are going to be in for a treat and actually hear him play around a little bit. So it gives me great pleasure to have you sit back, relax, and enjoy Riverside Vinny.
How y'all doing? Going to be doing a little Voodoo Child right about now. Then after that, I'm going to show you how to play guitar with your teeth and maybe behind your back and, behind your head and stuff like that. So. All done doing that stuff, then you can play behind your back. When you're playing behind your back, pick a nice good spot on your guitar, play in the box, and then just play. And then when you're playing, bend that note, hit it behind your head. Or with your teeth. Sometimes when you're playing with your teeth, make sure you get the strings right.
Wow. Vinny, you did not cease to amaze, my friend.
I'm just a big kid having fun.
You were a big kid, I tell you. I don't know if you saw the people hanging around the studio there. They're all kind of rocking and grooving and bopping to what you were doing here. But, you know, as I mentioned to you, time seems to fly by very, very quickly.
Yes, it does.
And, you know, I hope you folks at home, you know, got a little bit of a lesson of what you can learn by taking some risks, maybe.
You have to take risks.
Some risks and
Yes,
get
you
out
have to
there
take
and not
risks.
be afraid to
Yep.
explore and expand your horizons. But you know, Vinny, this has been a great pleasure for me, and I know that you've taken a little bit of hiatus from your gigs, but we have a couple of seconds left. I know that you are quite the handyman, and those guitars that you play, you not only play them, but you make them as well, right?
Yes, I do.
You take
Yes, I do.
repurposed wood, or tell you a little story how you make your guitars.
You know, last year the wood was calling me, and my first custom-made guitar was made out of pallet wood.
Wow.
And from there, then I started looking into different kinds of repurposed wood or reclaimed wood. And I found the supplier of, you know, the old mill buildings
Sure,
around here in
sure.
New England. It's the floorboards, and I found some wood that's 200, 300, 400 years old. And what better wood to make a guitar out of? And I started making a lot of Telecaster bodies right now. I'm going to go into Stratocasters again soon, and some, you know, like Les Paul style guitars, double necks and things like that. And but the wood is unique. It's very old, has nail holes in it, has beautiful knots, beautiful grain. And I'll put this wood together and make a beautiful instrument. And people have been buying them up. It's on the riversidevinny.com. And I have my own little guitar factory. It's good therapy while I'm taking a little break.
riversidevinny.com. And they can also find you on Facebook?
Yes, they can.
And also you are in the studio and going to be doing some recordings, so
Absolutely.
we can keep an eye and ear open for your
Newcastle Sound
your
in
CD.
Barrington. Yep.
Newcastle Sound in Barrington. And maybe when that CD comes out, you can come back here and actually play a little bit of that on the site.
Let's do it.
But Vinny, thank you so much for coming on. It was so much fun, and I wish we had 2 hours because there were so many fascinating things about you.
We could fill in a lot of time.
We'll do it again sometime. So folks, thank you very much for tuning in. I want to thank Roxanne Morse and all the people here at SMAC for pushing the buttons and making this show happen. And for my guest and friend, Riverside Vinny Goulart, I am Frank Walsh. And as always, support your local musicians. Go out and see people. Go out and see guys like Vinny. You will not be disappointed. So until the next time, Frank Walsh, tune in and tune on.